For today's headlines, Commission audit asks, where did Yolanda funds go? Agriculture down 2.6% in third quarter. Ramon Ang on selling Petron back to the government anytime. Siargao opens sports and tourism complex. Numbers coding back soon. Romulo-Puyat defends move to allow children in malls, resto, and tourism spots. Quezon City opens pet adoption center. Galvez reiterates stand on mandatory vaccination. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is November 9, 2021 and these are the latest news this Tuesday morning. Amid a new warning of more communities to be possibly displaced due to climate change, the Commission on Audit is still hot on the trial of the expenses incurred in the rehabilitation of the provinces badly hit by the super typhoon Yolanda 8 years ago. The government, it seems, has found its agencies lacking in their response to alleviating the plights of their victims of the freak weather. The government estimated 1,140,332 houses were partially or completely destroyed, with 89.598 billion pesos worth of properties obliterated, while 42.759 billion pesos economic losses were considered gone. Many countries and humanitarian organizations extended assistance to the Philippines to address large-scale rescue, retrieval, rehabilitation, and rebuilding. The United Nations, European Union, and the United States provided 11.19 billion pesos worth of aid, and it's 26.77% of the total aid received by the country from the international community. A total of 41.8 billion pesos was given in aid to those affected by the typhoon, with the United Kingdom having the largest donation amounting to 2.8 billion pesos, according to the UN Office for Coordination. China had provided 130 million pesos, while Russia gave 277 million pesos. An estimated 571 billion pesos from foreign monetary donations was spent to fund rehabilitation and livelihood programs in Yolanda hit areas. The Commission on Audit, however, said the National Housing Authority has failed to meet its rehabilitation and recovery targets. Only 139,516 of the 218,975 housing units were distributed in Bicol, Western Visayas, and Eastern Visayas. Also called by the COA was the Office of Civil Defense over the 24.64 million pesos used but still unliquidated funds for the victims. The money had been transferred to the Leyte Metropolitan Water District and used to pay for water meters at resettlement sites. The Philippines' farm output was in a deeper slump in the third quarter of the year due to lower production prompted by recent typhoons and the lingering presence of deadly African swine fever. Based on the latest data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, agriculture production, despite billions of government interventions, further declined by 2.6% in the July to September period from a 1.5% drop in the previous quarter. The decline in agriculture output, valued at 446.46 billion pesos in the third quarter, was due to losses in livestock, crops, and fisheries subsectors. According to PSA data, crop production, which accounted for 54% of total agriculture output, went down 0.2% year-on-year in the third quarter, and this was after a 6.7% annual growth in palay or paddy rice yield was dampened by typhoons. Meanwhile, the fisheries subsector also dropped 0.4% year-on-year during the quarter. Particularly, the production of big-eye tuna recorded the biggest drop at 41.4%. The PSA said poultry production was the only subsector that recorded improvement at 1.3% during the quarter. And for the first 9 months of the year, livestock production value at constant 2018 prices declined by 19.4%. Fisheries, which contributes 16.2% to the total agriculture and fisheries production, also inched down by 0.4%. And agriculture historically accounts for 10% of the country's gross domestic product. And despite media inquiries, the Department of Agriculture has yet to issue an official statement on the farm output decline as of press time. Petron President and Chief Executive Officer Ramon Ang on Monday, November 8, said he has no problem if the Philippine government would like to buy back the oil firm it used to own. Ang made a statement during the House Ways and Means Committee hearing on the price monitoring of petroleum products and on the proposed suspension or reduction of excise tax on fuel amid rising fuel prices in the country. But oil companies announced on November 8 a rollback in pump prices of petroleum products. Shell, Caltex, Sea Oil, Clean Fuel, and Petrogas will lower prices of gasoline and diesel by 1 peso and 0.60 pesos per liter, respectively. Kerosene prices will also be slashed by 0.65 peso. The changes have taken effect at 6 a.m. on November 9, and the business tycoon proposed to sell Petron to the government at a market valuation for over 5 years to pay. Before it was privatized in 1993, Petron was owned and controlled by the national government. Calls to renationalize the oil company surfaced in Congress after Bayan Muna Representatives Carlos Zarate, Ferdinand Gaite, and Eufemia Calamat filed a bill seeking government's intervention. Ang warned, however, that operating the oil business will not be profitable. He revealed that in 2020, Petron Corporation lost 18 billion pesos. The hearing was held as lawmakers considered suspending the collection of excise tax from fuel products in line with the implementation of the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion law due to the continuous price hike of fuel products. Tribune News on Q will be back after these short reminders.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelovelo, Comfy Manalo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Jerk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. In other news, the Siargao Island Sports and Tourism Complex in Surigao del Norte was recently inaugurated by no less than President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo to boost the tourism sector in the province adversely affected by the pandemic. Citing Siargao Island's reputation as one of the most famous tourist destinations in the country, Go said that the opening of the 630.2 million pesos complex will greatly boost the island's tourism sector and the country's economy recovery. Established in the town of Dapa, the sports and tourism complex can accommodate a total of 1,632 persons with its first-class facilities and amenities, and can also hold various national and international sports and tourism events. The 6.3-hectare complex, which was started in 2015, is also equipped with basketball, volleyball, and badminton courts, a dormitory for student athletes, rubberized athletic oval, soccer field, swimming pool, the 2-story, 6-classroom Siargao Sports High School, and a convention center. Go then echoed the president's appeal to the local governments in Siargao Island to take care and preserve the natural beauty of the island to ensure that next generations of Filipinos will also get to enjoy it in the future. A traffic official of the Quezon City Police District said the return of the number coding scheme in the city is being looked into following the relaxation to Alert Level 2 of the community quarantine in Metro Manila. Police Lieutenant Colonel Manny Sinigan noted during the RJTV Daily Tribune's morning show Gising Na that traffic volume in Quezon City has increased lately with more people, including children, now allowed to go out. The Metropolitan Manila Council, composed in the 17 mayors of the National Capital Region, is expected to come up with a decision to lift or to maintain the suspension of the said scheme. Makati City has been implementing a modified number coding in which vehicles with 2 or more passengers are exempted from being ticketed when out on the streets during coding days. The numbers coding bars vehicles from being used in Metro Manila for 1 day each week depending on the ending numbers of their license plates. Sinigan said they are doubling their efforts to ease traffic congestion by assigning more traffic personnel. And he said more public utility vehicles now ply their pre-pandemic routes, resulting to heavier traffic flow. Tourism Secretary Romulo-Puyat on Tuesday defended the move of the Interagency Task Force to allow children inside malls and restaurants with the implementation of Alert Level 2 in Metro Manila.
Medyo mahigpit sila. Kaya masaya kami dito sa tourism na pumayag sila finally na Alert Level 2 at pwede na lumabas ang mga bata. Kasi matagal na pinaglalaban ng DOT at especially around Metro Manila na kung pwede nang lumabas yung mga bata. Kasi kawawa naman ang tagal na nakakulong. Although last year, pinayagan na yung mga bata sa iba't ibang tourist destinations as early as last year. As long as medyo mahigpit sila.
In an interview with our show Gising Na, Puyat noted that the Department of Tourism has been asking the Interagency Task Force to finally grant minors the authority to visit open spaces, including tourism spots like Intramuros and Fort Santiago. Puyat added that allowing children inside the malls, restaurants, and even hotels will also boost the DOT's move to promote their country's tourism sector. She noted that the tourism industry was badly hit by the pandemic, as she expressed confidence that workers can finally resume employment with the opening of the economy. At the same time, Romulo-Puyat assured that efforts are being done to ensure the vaccination of all workers in the tourism sector. She added that the DOT makes sure that employees in the restaurants, hotels, and tourist destinations are fully vaccinated. According to Romulo-Puyat, free swab test is also offered by the department for those who need RT-PCR tests to encourage local tourists to visit the different places in the country. She, however, reminded the public to observe the health protocol to ensure that the cases of coronavirus disease will continue to decrease. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage. Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. The 450 square meter Quezon City pound in Payatas will be transformed into an adoption center that can house about 60 neglected animals. The city's animal welfare and rehabilitation program will also provide rehabilitation and training services before allowing the adoption of the animals. Each year, nearly 10,000 animals are rescued in the city. City veterinarian Dr. Ana Marie Cabell said that impounded dogs and cats not claimed by their owners within 3 days will be put for adoption, and veterinary services, including surgeries, will be available at the center. Vaccine czar Carlito G. Galvez Jr. reiterated his stand on mandatory vaccination against COVID-19, citing the government's constitutional mandate to protect the health and welfare of the people. Galvez added that implementing mandatory vaccination is timely as the Philippines' vaccine inventory has significantly increased. As of November 8, the country has received 113,441,500 COVID-19 vaccine doses, which include the latest shipment of more than 2.8 million doses of Sputnik V jabs that arrived Monday evening. The vaccine czar said the National Task Force has proposed a 3-day National Vaccination Day, which aims to administer at least 5 million doses. The activity will run from November 29 to December 1. The national government aims to administer at least one COVID-19 vaccine dose to 54 million Filipinos, or 70% of the country's target population, by the end of November and complete their inoculation before year-end. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, Mary Kay, Araneta Center, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q, reminding you that we only have 46 days until Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.